everyone, PushingUpRoses here, and today we're talking about an episode of The Golden Girls! Yay! In this video, I'll be showcasing one of my favorites, the case of the Libertine Belle, spelled B-E-L-L-E, because it has a focus on Blanche and she's from the South. So, not like Taco Bell, like Southern Belle. See, it's better when you explain the joke. That's the key to comedy. I could gush about this show for years, and I probably will in the near future in a more comprehensive video, but today I would just like to get the ball rolling with this silly, shenanigan-based episode. Quickly though, if you don't know anything about this show, it ran from the mid to early 90s and focused on 4 older women who lived together in Miami.
Miami.
It stars Bea Arthur as Dorothy Spornak, deadpan sarcasm extraordinaire from Brooklyn and arguably the wisest in the group, Betty White as Rose Nyland, a naive, goofy, and optimistic woman from the fictional town of St. Olaf, Rue McClanahan as Blanche Devereaux, an overconfident, sexually charged woman and owner of the house they live in, and last but certainly not least, Estelle Getty as Sophia Petrillo, Dorothy's 80-year-old mother who came to live with them after suffering a stroke. She's just savage.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
I think I crossed that line when I got a date.
The show has had a pretty notable resurgence in pop culture over the years, which I attribute to the internet and the LGBTQ community. We love us some Golden Girls, trust and believe.
Better late than...
Blanche!
Pregnant.
Better late than pregnant, I always say.
Oh, and this clip you've probably seen a million times on Twitter, you know, the one people use when they're being thirsty. Yep, that's from this show. In fact, you cannot get away from the thirsty moments in this show. They are in every episode because do you really think sexual desire goes away when you hit a certain age? This show is known for destigmatizing sex, particularly between older people. Even this episode starts with Blanche talking about one of her lovers, Mel Bushman.
We ran out of gas in the middle of nowhere.
Oh my goodness, what did you do?
You name it.
Something I've always liked about Blanche in particular is that even though the girls give her shit for her promiscuity, she always embraces it.
She is the easiest woman in this room.
Dorothy Spornak, you take that back.
She gets offended if she is not the thirstiest woman in the room, and this is the first time I've seen a mature woman usurp the word slut and wear her sexuality like a badge of honor.
I'm the biggest slut.
Blanche tells the girls that the Maltese Falcon Club is sponsoring a murder mystery weekend event for her workplace, and she wants to go to impress her boss, Kendall Nesbitt, so that she could potentially get a promotion. She invites the 3 girls to go with her so she can get a group rate at the hotel, and it's revealed that Dorothy is quite the murder mystery enthusiast.
I have read every word Dashiell Hammett and Raymond Chandler ever wrote.
Can I just say something about Dorothy's hair? The evolution of Dorothy Spornak's hairstyle is a fascinating thing. It starts out pretty average, and then she starts rocking this longer style, which I love, and then it goes back to this, and I do not understand it. It's rather porcupine-like, isn't it? Doesn't anyone else see it? I love you, Bea Arthur, but your porcupine hair confuses me. Related, Bea Arthur's best look was in the Star Wars Holiday Special. Bea Arthur is a part of the Star Wars universe. It's canon. Deal with it. They show up at the hotel for the event, and holy ruffles, what is Blanche wearing? You know, the fashion in the show has been considered iconic, but I'm not so sure about this floofy monstrosity, and I'm not sure about this outfit either. Dorothy explains how the event will work to Rose, telling her to keep an eye on the actors and actresses and question them for clues.
Okay, Dorothy.
If that's your real name.
Rose is so cute. She's a character I grew to love because when I was young, I felt like she didn't shine as much as the others, but there is something to be said about a character who perhaps isn't the most book smart, but is joyful, caring, and extremely likable.
How is that coffee?
Terrific.
Actor.
As they sit down, Rose notices that Blanche is wearing a pair of her earrings. When Rose had previously asked where the earrings were, Blanche told her she didn't know, and yet here they are.
Well, Rose, there could be 2 explanations. Either I was lying or I was wrong about the number of explanations.
And this, my friends, is the setup for a joke that we will revisit much later on. Nesbitt comes over and Blanche flirts with him in her usual odd but charming way. After this, everyone gets to their seats and the show starts, and I can confirm that murder mystery events really are this cheesy. This one is obviously a little rushed due to the time constraint of a 23-minute sitcom, but it is pretty accurate. I like that the detective's name is Spade Marlowe, a mishmash of fictional detectives Sam Spade and Philip Marlowe.
Does anybody but me think the hat's a little precious?
After a couple people try to solve the case with no success, Dorothy confidently stands up and explains with gusto how it was all done. I also really love the mother-daughter bond between Sophia and Dorothy. It's a little on the brutal side, as they are both very feisty, quick-witted women, but I've never seen such candid banter like this. Some people think that Sophia is perhaps a little too mean, though from my perspective, she just reminds me of my gambling, swearing, and sometimes overly honest grandma, so for me it's just endearing.
Ma, why are you always trying to aggravate everyone?
To relax.
So Dorothy figures out the entire scenario in about 2 minutes and the show is over. Way to go, Dorothy, that was supposed to last at least 2 hours. Blanche decides to throw Rose out of their room last minute so she can have some private time with Nesbit. Rose does not like this idea. So this guy's dead. Blanche turns away for literally 5 seconds and her boss is dead on her bed with a knife plunged into his chest. Understandably, everyone thinks it's a part of the act. Dorothy holds up a mirror under the victim's nose to see if he's breathing, and because nobody thought to check his pulse, they conclude that, yep, he's dead. I have no idea why nobody checked for a pulse. If there was a lifeless looking body in front of me, my first thought would not be, hey, someone let me borrow a makeup compact, I gotta see if the mirror fogs up. That's how you prove death. Blanche becomes the main suspect as the room was locked and she and the victim were the only ones found in it. Sophia encourages Dorothy to try and figure out what happened, seeing as though she was so good at solving the fictional case at dinner. I mean, if you're good at murder mystery events, clearly the next logical step is becoming a detective.
That was a game. This is life.
Oh, that's right. You've never been good at life.
No one can cast a look like B. Arthur. Everyone meets up later in the lobby of the hotel and we are greeted by a new detective played by Tony Plana. Who is Tony Plana, you ask? He played Manny Calavera in Grim Fandango, which also happens to be a noir mystery point-and-click game.
It's my boss's secretary, Ava.
It's my boss's whipping boy, Manny.
He was also in an episode of Murder, She Wrote, so that's enough for me to be a Tony Plana super fan.
I'm Lieutenant Alvarez, Dade County Homicide, and here's what I got.
He's perfect in these roles, though when I see him, all I can think about is him yelling at pigeons as Manny.
Run, you pigeons! It's Robert Frost!
Blanche makes a desperate attempt to prove her innocence by hitting on the detective.
Blanche, not now.
If not now, when?
Followed by her coworker throwing out an accusation, claiming Blanche must have been jealous that their boss was going to offer the promotion to her instead, and for that reason, she killed him. It's very Fatal Attraction. She's charged with murder, but Dorothy is having none of that nonsense and attempts to solve the mystery. It's played out like a Murder, She Wrote recap. I can just hear the beautiful Jessica Fletcher firmly but eloquently explaining the scenario with a recreated scene on the screen. As an aside, I was always disappointed that there wasn't any overlap between these shows. They ran at the same time, and B. Arthur and Angela Lansbury were even very close friends, so it would have been great to see them guest on each other's shows, but the most we got was seeing Dorothy's ex-husband, Stan, as a recurring detective in Murder, She Wrote. As in his actor, not actually Stan. Anyway, Nesbit faked it. What a dick.
I seem to have recovered from my death.
Yep, it was all part of the murder mystery weekend. What in the fuck? This would be traumatizing. Blanche thought she was going to prison, and Blanche's coworker, who was in on this extra bit, took a shot at Dorothy. It clearly wasn't real, but this is the most unethical murder mystery event I've ever seen. I mean, I guess they got their money's worth, but damn. Can you imagine believing your boss got murdered and you're the one accused?
What a load of fun.
Rose was also involved. She was the one that sprayed defogger on the hand mirror. Blanche is pretty annoyed and asks why she would do a thing like that.
Well, Blanche, there could be 2 explanations.
That setup for the earring thing that happened earlier on, it came back. It spanned the whole episode.
Either I was getting back at you for taking my earrings, or... Oh, who are we kidding? That's why I did it.
Rose is a lovely person, but don't fuck with her. She's got an intense side, let me tell you.
Sometimes life just isn't fair, kiddo.
All right, final thoughts. I love this episode because it's pretty much everything I enjoy about the Golden Girls. The absurd but smart humor, the murder mystery aspect, Tony Plana, and Dorothy owning the entire room. Though the whole Blanche is charged for murder one thing is very bizarre and frankly immoral, I am always impressed with how goofy this show really gets. You don't necessarily envision these characters in some of the situations they find themselves in, especially if you've never seen an episode. These are the kind of shenanigans that have traditionally been reserved for younger male characters. In fact, sometimes it reminds me of the Monkees, though the writing itself is much smarter and more mature in the Golden Girls.
Well,
Correct letter is I. Name is not what, but nitwit.
It also has many progressive moments and tackles some serious topics throughout the years, but it balances that out with comedy and portrays older women in a way that you don't typically see, as active, funny, sexually confident people that have a life. If you're a fan of this show and the mystery genre in general, there's also a Golden Girls edition of Clue, and if you're a dork like me, you can even buy Golden Girls pencils. This one is my favorite. Eat dirt and die, trash. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the case of the Libertine Belle. If you have a suggestion for an episode you would love to see me discuss, please feel free to leave a comment. I do take them into consideration. And remember, when plowing through life's obstacles starts to feel impossible, and you feel like you're losing steam when the going gets tough, ask yourself, what would Dorothy Spornak do? Alright, cut to the theme song. If I don't mention it, people are gonna get mad.
Thank you for being a friend.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching my video on the Golden Girls. If you want to see more retro television content, then subscribe to my channel. Hope you like Murder, She Wrote! If you want to support the show, please consider pledging to my Patreon campaign, or if you want to help in a different way, likes and shares are also greatly appreciated. As always, I'll see you in the next one.